let's talk about the world's most popular psychostimulant, caffeine. For billions of us, it's the stuff that gets us going every single morning. It wakes us up, it keeps us sharp. But what is it actually doing inside our bodies, and especially inside our brains? Well, we're about to find out.
And that really is the big question, isn't it? We grab that cup of coffee or tea pretty much on autopilot. But is that daily ritual a protective shield for our future health? Or could it be a hidden risk? The answer, as you're about to see, is complicated.
And that's because caffeine is just a substance of powerful contradictions. It's wild, really. The very same chemical can be tied to some amazing health benefits in one context and come with some really serious warnings in another. It truly does have two completely different faces.
So let's start with face number one, caffeine as a potential guardian for our brains. There's this whole fascinating world of research that suggests our daily habit might be doing way more than just waking us up. It could actually be building a defense against some really serious diseases down the line.
Okay, to understand how this works, we got to meet a molecule called adenosine. Now, the easiest way to think about it is as your brain's natural brake pedal. All day long, as your brain is working hard, adenosine slowly builds up. And as it does, it starts to tell your brain, hey, slow down, time to rest. It's what makes you feel tired.
So here's where caffeine pulls a really clever trick. It turns out its molecular shape looks almost identical to adenosine, so it can slide right into the same receptors in your brain. But instead of pushing the brake, it blocks it, like jamming a piece of wood underneath the pedal. The slow down message never gets delivered, which lets your brain's own natural stimulants, the gas pedal, run totally free. That's the magic behind that feeling of alertness.
And you know, this simple act of blocking the brain's brake pedal might have some huge long-term benefits. By keeping adenosine at bay, caffeine might help dial down chronic inflammation and protect our neurons over time. And just look at what some of the research is saying. For Alzheimer's, one major study found moderate consumption was linked to a mind-blowing 62 to 64% reduced risk. For Parkinson's, the risk seems to go down as consumption goes up, especially for men. But, and this is a big but, it's not a silver bullet. For ALS, researchers found no link at all. And for Huntington's disease, higher intake was actually associated with an earlier start to the disease. It's a really mixed bag.
This one data point really brings the Alzheimer's connection to life. In one study, they looked back at caffeine habits over 20 years. Patients who developed probable Alzheimer's had been drinking, on average, just 74 milligrams a day. That's less than 1 cup of coffee. The healthy people in the study, they averaged 199 milligrams, more than double. The difference in their long-term habits is pretty stark. Okay, but now we have to flip the coin and look at the other, much more cautious face of caffeine. Because there is one time in a person's life when the official guidance gets incredibly clear, incredibly strict, and that is during pregnancy.
And look, this isn't just speculation or a friendly tip. This is official guidance coming from major health authorities, like the Royal College of Midwives in the UK. And it's all based on a growing mountain of evidence about the potential risks.
And they have a very specific number for us, 200 milligrams. That is the absolute maximum recommended daily limit during pregnancy. To put that in perspective, we're talking about maybe 1 strong cup of coffee from a coffee shop, or 2 cups of instant. And staying under that number is absolutely critical. Why? Because the risks of going over that limit are serious. Research has found a clear link between higher consumption, say over 300 milligrams a day, and things like lower birth weight. Go even higher than that, and you see an association with pregnancy loss. And maybe the most sobering fact of all, one major UK study found that the risk of stillbirth actually went up significantly for each additional 100 milligrams of caffeine consumed per day.
So how? How can one single substance be both a potential protector for the brain and also a clear risk during pregnancy? Well, it all comes down to the single most important rule in pharmacology. It's all about the dose.
This chart just lays the whole paradox out perfectly. On the one hand, you have the strict pregnancy guideline, way down there at under 200 milligrams. Then you have the average person's daily intake, which is actually a little bit over that. But then look at the dosages that were used in those studies on neuroprotection. We're talking 400 milligrams or even higher, literally double the pregnancy limit. The dose that might be good for you and the dose that's clearly risky are worlds apart. And it's not even just about the dose. The context of your own body matters too. So let's go back to Parkinson's disease. In men, the studies consistently show a protective effect. But in women, it's a lot more controversial. And the reason might be hormones.
It seems that caffeine and estrogen might actually compete for the same resources in the body, which could completely change how caffeine works, especially for women on hormone therapy.
So after all that, we have to bring it back to you. We've looked at the science, we've seen the risks, we've seen the potential rewards. So the final step is figuring out, what does all of this mean for your own life and your own daily habit?
Because if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that caffeine isn't simply good or bad. It's not a hero or a villain. Its effect on you is a really complex equation, and it depends entirely on the dose you're taking, your personal health, your gender, and, maybe most importantly, your current stage of life.
So the next time you pick up that mug, maybe just give it a second thought. Now that you know its two faces, the potential protector and the potential risk, what does caffeine really mean for you?